everybody, Maru here, and I thought I'd do another Sortie video with commentary, of course, and especially since I changed up my route a little bit, and I hope this will help a lot, explaining some stuff I do, where I get my key items, and what I do on the specific bosses. I'm not gonna talk the whole video through because my voice is probably not gonna cut that, but I will leave the timestamps in the description of the video so you can switch to them to actually see where we actually do comment. And yeah, I hope this is gonna help you on your journey in Sortie, and enjoy. Alright, here we are at Gartell, and as you can see, he has wind hands. That's pretty nice because I usually do more on wind hands than I do with thunder hands, so it's nice to show it off here. And the Bard, basically 2 hours, since it's the first boss I do. I will have the 2 hours back up later in the end. And I do Soul Voice, Aria, 2 times Minuet, Madrigal, Marcato Honor March. And on the Corsair I do Crook cards, a Chaos roll and a Samurai roll. I don't necessarily look that I have an 11 on both rolls, I just look that I don't have terribly bad rolls. And the Rune Fencer, of course, you do ice runes, which helps with the wind damage. Also, a bar arrow is very important, and the White Mage throws up an AoE regen. This will help a lot. It basically negates the dots you get from the feathers. And the Red Mage is getting ready to use Stymie, Saboteur, Distract on pull, and also Dia on pull. And I also will throw up an Eingon from the Dragoon, so I can start DPSing as soon as possible, because I will throw up a Synchro, whatever it's called, the magic buff from the White Mage, and an Asylum as soon as possible on the pull. So I have 30 seconds of leeway to DPS freely. Actually, I forgot this in this video, but I normally do it, I swear. And this video is kind of messy, so that's why I purposely chose this, because you can see how much errors I do and I still kill it. And I normally put up as I said, the White Mage buff and the Asylum, so I don't get chokeholded at the first time, but I get chokeholded here anyway. And basically, Dia Distract is up, I DPS as hard as possible. I had to run out my White Mage back out because he was still in there. Make sure he's out of silencing range, or you have remedies at hand, because else that can be a wipe pretty quickly. And yes, if you have enough DPS, you should basically kill him until he spawns one feather. If he spawns more feather, you can still do Valiance and One for All. I basically don't do it anymore, just to save time on DPS. But if you need that in order to have hate on your Rune Fencer, or you can also Batuta if you want, so you get less damage and you can focus on healing others. But as you can see, it should die pretty quickly. Your DPS should be able to DPS freely. In the contrast to Thunder Hands, that's gonna be a little bit more annoying. I usually take more time on Thunder Hands, although it's easier in quotes, but it just stuns you all the time. You cannot really negate that with anything. And yeah, that's basically it. Let's move on to the next boss. Alright, this is where I deviate a little bit from my previous strategies. I don't warp to, or I don't actually run to the elementals and ghosts anymore. I straight run to or warp to the entrance. And I'm gonna do D key item and A key item first. For that, I just run straight to the D boss. And in doing so, you will cross path with some A mobs, which you can drag along. Just make sure that the AoEs you pick up here, they will reset pretty quickly, so make sure you let them hit you at least sometimes so you don't reset them. And the other ones in the room here actually come all the way to where I usually set up camp to do the key item. So the AoEs from the first room would reset right here, so make sure you pull them with you. Either you let them hit or you do a quick flash. I didn't do this time, so you can see on the radar he's gonna reset right there. What I do here is just I sleep the AoEs, so it gives me some time. Make sure I enable all the buffs again. then rebuffed, and then we're gonna pull 3 formers. And this is gonna be a bit tricky because I want to save some time, so this can be a bigger pull. I think on this one I actually pulled almost the whole zone, not sure, let's see. But the gist of it is basically I do the D key item with my red mage and my corsair. They both do the first and the second weapon skill on the sword skill list. I don't know, I think it was Force Blaze, Burning Rate, something like that. They can chain that infinitely. And so I just do it with red mage and corsair on the same time. I actually just pulled 2 mobs. I'm gonna pull 1 more afterwards and with some other mobs. And in the end, I even have the NM show up in the middle of it, so I decided to kill him as well and actually get that chest. I lose a bit of time here, but it doesn't matter. I still kill everything in the end, so it was worth the points. And what I do with the Rune Fencer while the other 2s are doing the key items is I get the AoEs to like below 10%, so in order that my red mage can just nuke them off, because you need to kill them with magic. You can do that with the Rune Fencer as well, it just takes a while. I'm Rune Fencer Dark Knight, so you can nuke. It does actually do a decent amount of damage, but red mage is just faster. And yeah, that's basically it. I just do the D key item and A key items here, just in that spot, which you should normally be able to do before your 2-hour songs run out. And then you can just move to debuff directly. As you will see, I spend a little bit more time here than I usually do because the Demizang NM shows up and I killed 3 more Demizangs in order to get the chest. All right, and here we go to Degei. I normally run directly into the upper floor bosses because you save a lot of time. If you stop every time to do some rebuffs, you will take 30 seconds. 30 seconds times 4 is almost 1.5 minutes already of the time. So this will save you a lot of time. That's why I also choose a new route, because normally you can be fully buffed in order to come here. I'm very short here to run out of bar buffs, but it's worth it in the end. Important to note here, I do not proc him. I just DPS fully, just throw up a Dia and truck him on and just kill him. That's all. And once you're done, make sure to throw up an AoE sneak and AoE boltus roll as soon as possible. That's where you also can lose a lot of time if you every time you have to do 30 seconds in order to do a sneak in the boltus roll. Make sure you have that macro and press that just after the boss dies, and there you go. Here we come up to the C key item. Usually the boot is actually just right here in this room, and you can just drag him along, just aggro him with him. And I try to aggro 3 skeletons. Doesn't matter if you have more or even the whole zone. You can just easily sleep them. And basically what I do is, one thing which is very important, throw all your buffs back up again. This is where you save a lot of time, because you can buff here. Instead of buffing in the boss room, you buff here directly when you're doing the key items. And this key item I basically do with my Rune Fencer. I just do it with EPO, Demediation, and a Flash Magic Burst. And after that I just kill it off with my small ones. Meanwhile I do that, I let my Dragoon solo the boot. He should die before you are finished. And basically when you're buffed up again, and then you just run to the boss room without doing bolus roll. Keep your rolls up, just run straight to the boss room. Alright, here we are at Skomora. As I said before, you should be fully buffed from the C key item, and you can just basically run in and engage with all of them. I make sure that the white mage is also in melee range, so he can AoE dispel himself with us. Again, I just do a dia and kill him as soon as possible. Important here, he's gonna do the curse, which is gonna make you slow, so after the fight, make sure you sneak up and boulders roll, and also I do the mazurka from the bard, so I get the 60% movement speed regardless, so you can just basically negate the curse from the boss. And other than that, it's just kill him, sneak up, boulders roll, mazurka, and move on. Alright, here we come to the B key item. I also do this directly in front of the boss room, so you can buff in the meantime, so you're fully buffed when you engage the boss. You don't have to spend more time buffing him. Basically, I just run in here, I do a cast or interrupt the cast. This will aggro all the elementals. And I just huddle up here and I throw up a sleep from the bard. The light elementals won't be slept, but that's good because I want to kill him, kill them first because they take a lot of damage. Basically what I do resolution with my rune fence, which will do a light skill chain. I do Diarmuid with my dragoon, which will kill one, and I do wildfire with my corsair on one. So I basically I kill elementals with 3 characters at the same time. So this will, if you have more characters which can do self-skill chain, or you can just do one skill chain with Red Mage and then just physically chain them down, doesn't matter. You don't have to have any magic skills or magic weapon skills or something like that. I just do it physical. They do take less damage, of course, but it's still decently fast enough that you get the key item as soon as possible. And after that, it's just open chest, run to the boss. Leshon is up. All right. As you can see here, we have wind hands. The only thing I make sure here is that the healer is out of range, so he doesn't get silenced, that I actually put up a rune and at least do Valiance or One for All, so I'm sure that he's on me, because he can, even this version of the boss can stack up a lot of damage if he absorbs anything you don't want him to absorb, but that just can happen. Just make sure your Rune Fencer tanks him with Batuta, and then it shouldn't be a problem, even if he eats a lot of buffs. Sometimes he can take a little long, depending on what buffs he absorbs. If you want to optimize, I normally cancel Protect and Phalanx in order so he doesn't absorb that, because if he absorbs that, the fight can take quite a bit longer. And yeah, that's basically it. Kill him, sneak back up, and Boltus roll, and then move on. Alright, here we come up to Ghajot, or however you want to call him, and this is actually the only boss where I spend a little bit of time buffing, because usually at this point my songs ran out and I didn't have to kill the AK item anymore because I did it at the start. So I make sure I buff as quickly as possible. I do resolution on the Rune Fence, so that's fine. I switch from Rudra Storm to Savage Blade on the Bard, and I don't do the Armoid, but the Impulse Drive with the Ambu polearm on the Dragoon. All others are keep doing what they're doing. And yeah, spend as little time possible to buff, run in, and kill him again. Make sure you have the White Mage throw up a regen in order to negate his poison. Next boss is Triboulex. Make sure to switch back your weapons again. The Bard does Rudo Storm here again, the Dragoon, the Armoid. And I basically full buff here. The songs should still be up from the A boss. And what's important on this one, I also, as with the upper boss, I make sure that the white mage is in range, so he erases the group with him. And the most important thing is the red mage here to do Dia, and if you need Frazzle and Distract. You shouldn't need any Stymie or Saboteur to get it up, that should be no problem. And then I usually sometimes try to move out of the way with the rune fences, so the pillars are placed a little bit out of the way. I haven't really found that it does anything, but I do it either way. If it doesn't help, it doesn't hurt, so yeah, other than that, just kill it. He can be really annoying because he can just basically reset your TP all the time, then it can take a lot of time to kill. But other than that, he's pretty straightforward. Just kill him. As with the upper version, he will throw up the curse again. Make sure you have Boulder's Roll and Mazurka, and also Sneak ready to do right after the boss dies. Up next is Dhartok. Yeah, he's pretty same-ish as the upper version. And the only thing you have to watch out for, which I'm gonna show you right now, is when you do cesspool, and it can be dangerous. On the Bard again, I switched to Savage Blade together with the Corsair. They both do the Savage Blade here, it doesn't really matter. And I do Impulse Drive with Dragoon. And make sure you're fully buffed, you have some runes up, and make sure, what's important, make sure your Rune Fencer's taking all the damage. And the reason behind that is that each normal attack which he does throws up a poison stack on you. So the more normal attacks you get, the more poison you get. So if you can get the most damage on your tank, your groups should actually be fine with just a regen and absorb all of that. And basically what I do is run in, DPS as hard as possible. Of course the Red Mage will throw up Dia, distract if necessary with Frazzle. And I DPS until he does cesspool. It varies a lot when he does it. Sometimes he does it right off the bat, sometimes he does it really late. But as soon as he does cesspool, I run away with the Rune Fencer, so I basically kite him. I make sure that the Red Mage also throw up some gravity once it's done with the other buffs. And that has two advantages really, because first, when he does cesspool, he gains his aura. So his spells like his wave spell and so can do a lot of damage, basically wipe your Groot if you're not careful. And if you're far enough from your with your Rune Fencer, he doesn't do normal attack on you anymore, so you save a lot on poison stacks. So the poison can be also negated on you with just a regen, or if you have regen gear to throw that up, that helps also a lot. And yeah, just kill him other than that, and throw up Bolter's Roll and regen and sneak as soon as you're done, and move up to the next boss. I'm gonna wait and see if he does the cesspool here. I think he does it pretty late, or yeah, he does it now. So okay, you see cesspool. All right, I run out. You can just do foil to keep the aggro. At this point you should have aggro anyway. You could do other job abilities to do aggro. Just make sure you stay out of his normal hit range. If you have gravity up, he doesn't move much, so you can just kill him off with your DPS. Last but not least, it's Aita, and he's probably one of the most dangerous bosses in Sortie because he can overwhelm you pretty fast with the feathers, and if you leave him unprocced, you will basically not be able to kill him because your DPS will drop off so fast. As for buffs, I basically do the same thing I did with Gartell. It's 2-hour songs, 2 times Minuet, Aria, and Honor March, Crook cards, Chaos Roll, and Sam Roll. Again, I don't watch that I have an 11. I make sure I have some water runes for fire damage, or normally I mix it up with the runes. I do a Barfira on the White Mage, and also a regen, which is very important to keep your DPS more or less stable. Pull is basically the same as with Gartell. I position my White Mage to right as I do the Red Mage, and the Red Mage is going to be ready to use Stymie, Saboteur, Distract as soon as possible, and also throw up the Dia as soon as possible. You will see my Dia will be super late, and I think my Dragoon didn't have Angon up. That's why I run into a lot of trouble later on, and I don't do one for all. I usually do one for all before the pull nowadays, before I actually engage. So I have that ready, so I spend less time buffing in the fight and spend more time DPSing, because DPS is of the essence. The faster you get him down, the less feathers he spawns. And basically, same as Gartell, I run in, flash, pull, the Red Mage, Stymie's Gravity, not Gravity, Distract, which I miss here. That's why my Rune Fencer will be a little bit off, not attacking as it should be. And I have to reposition my Red Mage in order to do all the debuffs. And I'm super late on DPS. Also, I do a Valiance after that, but I forgot to do one for all. You really, one for all is gonna help a ton here. I also usually run in with the Right Mage and do the magic buff, the Sancto, whatever it's called, in the middle of the fight, like when it has 50%, so it lasts for the whole duration. I usually could do it pre-pull, but I usually do it nowadays. I do it like that. It also depends a lot on what feathers he spawns. If he does an AoE slow, I usually run in and Benediction with the White Mage to get rid of it, and because that's gonna hurt your DPS a lot. I forgot to reapply Shell on my Dragoon here, so that's why he gets smoked pretty fast. In general, just make sure you have all your magic debuffs available up, one for all, Sancto from the White Mage, and also Valiance from the Rune Fencer. I could have also Batuta from the start, which I didn't do here. Normally, if you don't have enough DPS, which I used to do for a long time, is just move after 2 or 3 feathers. Just move with your tank pretty far away, so he follows you fast, and your DPS will follow as well. It can be a little bit tricky that if your DPS is low HP and you move it then, that one of the DPS dies, but most of the time it's the safer alternative if you don't have the DPS. If you have the DPS and you do everything right, he should die here right on the spot without anyone else dying. But make sure you have Shell, Sancto, Valiance, one for all, everything up, Dia, Angon, Distract from the start, and DPS as soon as possible. Proc him as fast as possible on the Red Mage. And yeah, that's pretty much for Aita. Since all of my guys died here, I just decided to go kill some formors after that. Normally I have like 8 to 10 minutes left on the run here, so I just do the Knuckles on the same floor, which is the formors. You have to kill the formors or all the formors in the same in the main room from the Knuckles. Then the Knuckles will spawn and you can just kill them as well. All right. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm gonna fade out here into the last bits where I kill some formers. And I hope the commentary helped, and if you have some questions, we have a pretty active Discord. Just come there and ask your questions there. I also have most of the stuff I use on there. And yeah, I hope you enjoy your day.
you.